We're back once again with the xl250s. Today's project, after yesterday's fitting of the brake and clutch levers, is to fit the front brake light switch. But unfortunately it's not as simple as just fitting the switch. I need to make sure that this works with the system, and I don't know whether I'm dreaming it or not, but I seem to recall at some point since I've had this bike that this particular cable here, when earthed to the frame, operated the rear brake light, and I'm pretty sure that the brake light switch from the front lever plugs into this and then plugs into the earth system somewhere, and that should in theory work. However, I'm getting no power feed to this. Now either I dreamt up that that did work, or it did work and it's no longer working, so I have to chase the fault with that cable first. According to the wiring diagram in the Haynes manual, that is the correct colour for the brake light circuit, so I don't think I'm dreaming it up. So the first job I have to do is to take the seat off, and I need to chase the wiring from the rear brake light switch somewhere along this circuit. Following through, it should join up with that, and hopefully we'll find the fault. Okay, so with the saddle off, I found the brake light switch, which is here, which follows up underneath the seat and pops out and terminates with, well, doesn't terminate, but it comes to these two connectors here. We've got the same green and yellow that I found at the front, and we've got a black cable as well, which is what it's supposed to be according to the manual. Now I have the earth lead and the earth terminal for my multimeter on the battery there, and if I check each of these cables, it tells me that I'm getting no voltage. It's weird, 0.02 volts, but if I go onto the black one, I should get 6 volts, well, 5.94 volts. So that tells me that the black is the positive and the green and yellow is the earth route. So really what I'm looking for under the headlight is a black terminal that will connect up with this black wire here, which somewhat makes my life more difficult. But as a quick test of my hypothesis that is in fact the feed to the rear brake light, I've connected up a cable to the battery. I've opened up the bird's nest that is the front headlight bowl. I hate that sight. Look at it. It's like spaghetti. It's spaghetti that someone's been in and played with as well, which isn't much fun. But I'm looking for a black cable, and straight away I can see that there is a terminal there with a black cable on. So fingers crossed, I'm hoping that is a live cable. So I need to turn the ignition on to make sure there's feed. Make sure that we're earthed into the frame, which is good. And what do you think? Are we feeling lucky? Are we feeling lucky? Right. Get in there. Fabulous. That is our 6 volt feed, which we should be able to take and then via the switch dump it into the green and yellow cable. I'm just going to turn the ignition off to make sure it's not permanently live. And come on, you. Go on. Okay, I'm not getting anything. Switch on, check, and try again. 6 volts. Fabulous. So the next thing to do is to plug in our switch and see if it works, and if it does, then it's just a case of fitting the switch and routing the cables, and fingers crossed that'll work for us. We have a brake light switch which I have connected to the black positive feed that we found straight away and got lucky with, and the green and yellow cable is connected to the green and yellow cable that we know belongs to the lighting circuit. So the test would be, as the switch is currently in the closed position rather than the open position, when the lever's not being used, it compresses the switch and effectively breaks the circuit. So currently, without the lever being on there, it should be a closed circuit. So when we turn on the ignition switch, I hopefully will see the tail light come on. Fantastic, brilliant. That was far easier so far than I expected. And if I press the button on the switch, it should go out. Excellent. So there we go. I think we found the circuit that I needed. Now all we have to do is fit the switch to the brake lever and then route the cables into the headlight, and that should give us a working front brake light switch. I spared you the agony of watching me remove the lever again, but the brake light switch has to go into that hole there. There is a little notch on the switch here that marries up with a little cutout on the inside of this switch housing, which allows it to sit in flush without it rotating. There we go. That's it in place there. So the switch is now in the hole. I'll put some light on there and you can just see the nipple of the switch sticking forward. That's the bit that should contact with the brake lever, and I don't know if you can make it out, probably not, but you can see the little square cutout that allows the switch to align properly in the hole. The brake lever is back on, so now we have to route these cables and get them squared away, and then hopefully everything will work fine. Really pleased with this afternoon's work. Didn't encounter any major problems. Everything seemed to work out as it should have done, which is nice for a change. So yeah, finally after years have a working front brake light. Brilliant stuff.